They tried resuscitating him, taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead.
All it wanted to paint us as enemies, but we were actually very, very close friends. And we kept up with each other on a regular basis.
July 24th, 2025. Fans were stunned. Hulk Hogan was gone, but almost instantly, things turned eerie.
And I don't mean to be an egomaniac, but I mean, I could actually wrestle anybody at that time and sell out. We sold out everywhere constantly.
Leaked footage from his Clearwater home exploded online, showing paramedics pounding on his chest, trying to bring him back. As he was wheeled out on a stretcher, a neighbor caught it all on their phone, and the second it hit the internet, whispers started. Was this really just natural causes or something darker? The video was heartbreaking. This was Hulk Hogan, the man who once dominated arenas, now lifeless, right there for the world to see. It hit harder because weeks earlier, he seemed unstoppable. He was out promoting his beer.
I walked in, the doctor pulled me aside and goes, "Hey, your buddy here has destroyed his body, the inside of some of his intestines and stuff."
Joking on podcasts and chopping it up with Theo Von like he still had that old Hulkamania energy. In those final talks, Hogan went deep. He spoke about grinding his way from broke musician to global superstar. He shared raw moments about Ric Flair, their decades of brotherhood, and the brutal price wrestling made him pay. Multiple surgeries, shattered joints, pain that never left. He wasn't hiding anything.
In the last 10 or 12 years, I've had like 25 surgeries.
Just 2 months before the tragedy, he'd gone under the knife for another neck surgery. Watching those interviews now is chilling. He looked smaller, more fragile, but that spark, still there. The way his mind was sharp while his body was breaking.
We're the only beer company that actually lives here, and there was an open lane that somebody dropped the ball on marketing-wise. I'm not going to name any names. And so we just started, and we came up with the name, the Real American Beer, way before we got our nation.
Makes that leaked footage even harder to watch. One moment he's cracking jokes and telling life lessons. The next, he's being revived in his driveway. It shook the internet. Not even Hulk Hogan could body slam time. But through it all, he faced everything with humor, grit, and his unshakable faith. In one emotional sit-down with Patrick Bet-David, Hogan revealed the moment that changed him forever, holding his father as he passed, feeling his spirit leave the room. That memory gave him peace about life and death. Fans now see it.
And my chest on his chest. And I went, I jumped.
Like a hidden goodbye. Even his last TV spot for Real American Beer hits different now. He smiled, he pushed through, but fans could feel it. Something was off. Looking back, every joke, every smile, almost felt like he knew his final bell was coming.
Don't you ever let anybody hurt you again, so, it straightened me right up. So a few months later, when my leg was healed, I went back and I had that attitude, because when I was younger, I was real strong and kind of aggressive.
Now the questions won't stop. Did we all miss the warning signs? Or is there a bigger story no one's telling yet? One thing's clear, Hulk Hogan didn't just live like a legend. Even in death, he left the world buzzing. And this story feels far from over. While fans praised Hogan for keeping it real in his last interviews, that leaked footage of his medical emergency kicked off a whole different storm. How far is too far when it comes to watching someone's final moments? In today's viral world, even a legend's last breath can get turned into content.
Wrestling like 12, 13 times a week, and they're giving me a check for $125.
Oh yeah, when you're beating the shit out of somebody at a Best Western.
Yeah, I was gigging my head for $5 a night.
And that's chilling. Through it all, Hogan stayed raw and real. He spoke on his surgeries, his regrets, his faith, and he did it with that same fire that kept fans riding with him for decades. He wasn't acting for cameras anymore. He was just being Hulk. Those last sit-downs revealed a man who finally found peace with all the highs and lows. His body was breaking down, but his voice stayed strong, leaving fans with something bigger than wrestling. His resilience, his heart.
Then I figured the business out.
Right.
Then I went back, and one time I slammed somebody. I looked at the crowd, I went like that, and the reaction got more response than the body slam.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Let me hit somebody in the throat. And then look, and the reaction got, more. I said, okay, now I got it. It took me a while to figure it out.
So you were a king there.
But as soon as I walked in there, I was over. And
Was it interesting? What was it like? What was the fanhood like, and how they treat fans different in America and Japan?
Well, over in Japan, they treat you like, you're royalty. It's just like Brad Pitt and, Tom Brady all in one. You know what I mean?
And his fight. But to get why that hit so hard, you gotta rewind. The myth of Hulk Hogan didn't start under bright lights. It was born in the rough and tumble 70s wrestling scene. When young Terry Bollea first walked into a gym, the vets didn't roll out a red carpet. They snapped his leg on purpose. That was the old school test. Quit or come back stronger. And he came back. With his dad's tough love advice in his head, Hogan returned with a new mindset. Wrestling back then wasn't all showbiz. It was territorial, dangerous, and full of unspoken street codes. Step into the wrong city without respect, you could get stomped out quick. Early in his grind, Hogan wrestled as Sterling Golden and Terry Boulder. The money? Barely gas money. Some weeks he made more hauling cargo in Tampa than getting slammed in the ring. But working side by side with Black and Latino longshoremen gave him the grit and hustle that would define him. The game changed when he realized wrestling wasn't just muscle, it was emotion. Fans didn't care about flawless moves. They wanted to feel something. If they needed a hero, he gave them one. If they wanted a villain, he could flip the switch in a heartbeat. Then Japan called, and that's where he got even sharper. The matches were no joke.
I had started the Hulkamania thing in Minnesota.
Got it.
And I had crazy momentum. And if you look back on some of my AWA matches in Minnesota and see how the crowd would react when I'd play that Eye of the Tiger music, that don, I'd come out, the place would go crazy.
Fans demanded intensity. Over there, they named him Ichiban, #1, and he earned that title with blood, sweat, and showmanship. His biggest crossover moment came in Hollywood. Playing Thunderlips in Rocky III got him noticed. Vince McMahon Sr. gave him a shot, but it was Vince Jr. who had the master plan to take wrestling nationwide and crush the old model. And for that, he needed a face. Hogan was the face. He could step into any arena, in any city, and have strangers chanting his name by the end of the night. But going national came with enemies. In towns like Kansas City, some old-school wrestlers saw him as a threat and wanted real smoke. Hogan didn't flinch, and over time,
I had started the Hulkamania thing in Minnesota.
Got it.
And I had crazy momentum. And if you look back on some of my AWA matches in Minnesota and see how the crowd would react when I'd play that Eye of the Tiger music, that don, I'd come out, the place would go crazy.
a lot of those same rivals joined the McMahon machine. Then came the explosion of Hulkamania. January 23, 1984, Madison Square Garden. Hogan drops the Iron Sheik and becomes WWF champ. With America looking for a hero during Cold War jitters, he became bigger than wrestling. He became a symbol. Hogan's red and yellow all-American vibe hit the culture like a thunderclap. In a world hungry for heroes, he showed up waving the flag and flexing, and fans ate it up. He didn't just change wrestling, he supercharged it into a full-blown pop culture storm. The secret? His once-in-a-lifetime star power mixed with Vince McMahon's cutthroat marketing hustle. Back then, wrestling was evolving fast. Entrance music.
I shouldn't go to. Like Kansas City, where Harley Race's ex-Marine was the NWA World's Champion. And when I showed up, he tried to burn the ring down at 12 in the afternoon. And then that night when I came to the building, he put a gun to my head.
Flashy merch, celeb run-ins, and wild TV crossovers were fresh and explosive. And Hogan? He was the face of it all. He didn't just appear at WrestleMania, he owned it, headlining 8 of the first 9. That legendary body slam on Andre the Giant in front of 93,000 screaming fans? Boom. Icon. Forever. What set him apart? Hogan never slipped out of character. He knew exactly where Hulk ended and Terry began. That discipline kept him sharp, while other stars got lost in their own hype.
The kids were real aware of who I was, but, you know, the moment I would come home, bro, that Hulk Hogan thing was dropped
Really?
at the front door. I didn't have any pictures in my house of me, no wrestling crap in the house at all. I didn't want it in my house. Somebody got
And burned out fast. By the early 90s, Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a walking symbol of American pop culture. He shaped fashion, slang, and even the idea of toughness. Kids wore the shirts, adults quoted the lines, and his influence stretched far past the ring. Yeah, the titles were legendary. 6-time WWE champ, TV ratings through the roof, but the real power was the bond with the crowd. Fans didn't just cheer him, they believed in him. To kids, he was practically superhuman. In the 80s, Hogan was the #1 Make-A-Wish request.
And the more evil and the horrible stuff I did, the more people cheered me. So the worse I got, and the nastier I got, and the meaner I got, and the evil, as evil as I could be, the people cheered me.
His train, pray, eat your vitamins line became a whole movement. Parents trusted him. Kids worshipped him. Then, 1996 flipped the script. Hogan shocked the world by turning heel and leading the NWO. Overnight, the Ultimate Hero became wrestling's ultimate villain, and fans were still locked in. He knew how to play the game better than anyone. Hero or bad guy, Hogan had them hooked. But the shine couldn't last forever. In 2015, old racist comments resurfaced, and WWE cut ties instantly. The scandal rocked his image. Even though they reinstated him in 2018, the digital age never forgets, and his reputation took a hit that never fully faded. Meanwhile,
Everything hurts, it's hard to explain. Like if I'm gonna brush my teeth and I'm leaning on the counter brushing my teeth, I can't push away. So when I'm done brushing my teeth, I have to lean in like that and then pull back. I can't push like a glass door open. Everything in the gym is short strokes. I can't straighten my arms out.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with my knees, my hips, my back, my neck. But that's because I probably wrestled too long and I didn't get the memo that stuff.
his body was paying a brutal price. Over 25 surgeries, 10 on his back alone. Decades of slams and drops left him in constant pain. Yet somehow, he kept the jokes, kept the grind, and fans respected that toughness. His real comeback wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Losing his father shifted everything. Hogan stopped chasing headlines and leaned into faith, family, and peace. His marriage to Sky Daily reflected that. Less Hollywood, more heart. And let's not forget, Hogan was everywhere. Movies like Rocky III, Saturday morning cartoons, reality TV, SNL. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a living, breathing slice of Americana. Whether you watched wrestling or not, you knew Hulk Hogan. He wasn't just an athlete. He was a phenomenon. Hulk Hogan wasn't just America's hero. He was worldwide. In Japan, they crowned him Ichiban, #1. Even in places where people couldn't name another U.S. celebrity.
All of a sudden, I'm leaning and looking at his face and my chest on his chest. And I went, ah! I jumped back. I felt something come out of his body. And when it hit me, I don't know if it went in me or through me, but there's something more than just this meat suit brother.
They knew the red and yellow. His brand was everywhere, like the Golden Arches, but with muscle and charisma. When he passed on July 24th, 2025, the world reacted instantly. Tributes poured in from wrestlers, actors, even politicians. But the ones that hit hardest? Everyday fans who said Hogan gave them hope when life knocked them down. His message of strength and perseverance went way beyond the ring. Then came the leaked video of his last moments, and the internet split. Some said it crossed the line, too raw, too personal. Others swore it brought closure, letting fans share that final goodbye. Love it or hate it, Hogan was still shaking hearts and stirring emotion, even in death. Wrestling historian Dave Meltzer said it best. You can't possibly overrate his significance. Hogan sold more tickets than anyone in wrestling history.
People always wanted to paint us as enemies, but we were actually very, very close friends. And we kept it up with each other on a regular basis. The music started and he came down the hallway. And, I would get him down for 2 minutes, and we'd have it's just an unbelievable relationship. Are you kidding? I loved him, and everywhere we went, we drew money. Everybody wants to take a shot at Hulk, but he doesn't deserve it. You know, people make mistakes, and you know, who knows how that happened. Well, you know what? One thing about Hulk, and I've never forgotten it. He used to say to me, it's not about who's the best worker, it's about who makes the most money. So I've never forgotten that. And I went to pay him back, and he said, "You never have to pay me back. I'm here for you." His legacy is, he's arguably, along with Steve Austin, the biggest star in the history of wrestling. Just stands up and says, "Man, Hulk, you are the greatest." He made a lot of people a lot of money.
That he did.
Not just a promotion. He made a lot of people a lot of money.
But the numbers are just part of it. The real legacy? He inspired millions to keep fighting when life tried to pin them down. He gave courage to sick kids, to struggling adults, to anyone chasing a dream. Whether you grew up screaming Hulkamania or just knew the name, he made people believe they could rise again after the hardest falls. His passing didn't just close a wrestling chapter, it ended a piece of pop culture history. WWE knew it, honoring him twice in the Hall of Fame. First in 2005, then again in 2020 with the NWO. From a shy Florida kid too scared to take his shirt off at the beach, to a man who electrified arenas across the globe, Hogan lived the American dream to the fullest. And in the end, he left one last message. Legends might not be invincible, but the values they fight for can outlive them. Faith, courage, determination. Hogan lived it, preached it, and the world listened. His biggest victory wasn't a championship belt, it was making millions believe in themselves. That's the legacy that will never die. So now it's your turn. What do you think about Hogan's journey, his impact, and the story of his final days? Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories behind the legends.